Hello, my name is Cody Clinton. This is my final presentation video of the course I've designed for 5510. My course is titled Beginning Ceramics, Hand Building, as it is a introduction to ceramic techniques that are surrounding hand building. We're going to start by briefly going through the job aid document because it's a good summary of what the course is about, what it entails, and will help us receive an overview of what we're doing here. So our learning theory is constructivist in that it takes individual, independent learning activities and experiences and combines them with social situations through critique and peer commentary to create a deeper learning experience. The instructor demonstrations will be held by synchronous meetings, so there'll be video conferencing demonstrations of the techniques that the students are going to be expected to practice in their own studios to create their learning experiences. Basically, for each technique, there's a goal with a series of objectives associated with it. So in the beginning, we're going to identify the various required elements and tools of a ceramic studio and be able to set them up in a safe and functional working studio. Specifically, we learn how to handle the materials, what the stages of the material is, how to process it and work it through from wet work all the way through to drying safely without breaking. Once we've completed the first module, we proceed to the second module, which is our first studio module, where we learn the coil building practice. Students will be able to learn how to do coil building, what it is, and how to apply it in a new and creative way. Pinch pots is the next module, which is another hand building forming method where they will learn how to pinch the clay into different forms. We'll give them specific size requirements in order to sort of force them to practice doing this in an intentional way. So one form that's wider than it is tall, the next taller than it is wide. Soft slabs is the final new information or new technique that they will be taught. And then in the final project is designed to bring the culmination of all the techniques that they've learned, give them an opportunity to use those together to create one final project. Feedback is an extremely important part of this course. It's good for the person receiving the feedback to grow from, and it's a vital part of the studio art class that one doesn't usually have from their home. So that's one of the biggest benefits of this course, is that it creates this environment where people can practice giving feedback, where they can practice receiving feedback, which ultimately leads to growth as an artist, growth as a student. So for the job aid, we've given some tips on what to do. The course itself has a module that guides us through, which you'll see. We have a timeline, a week-by-week breakdown, which will go into more detail, and then a final word about assessment, which will be a final synchronous meeting. So the homepage for the course says, welcome to Beginning Ceramics. We're glad you're here. Gives a brief overview of why we designed this course, what we hope it can do for you, and then a breakdown of the timeline. So this is the landing page. When a student comes in, the first thing they see is exclamation points, welcome, glad you're here. And then on that same page, we have links directly to the week-by-week breakdown of what you are to do. So I found that it was a very successful way to have the student learn how to easily navigate the course. I don't want them wondering where to go or what to do. I want them getting straight into the meat and potatoes of what they're doing here as a part of this course. So again, week one, it's broken down week by week. Here's what you do. Click on it. It takes you directly there, and it actually says that here so you can see discussion forums, lessons, information pages. Again, week by week, they just come to this landing page where they're already going to when they come to the course, and they can just click on sequentially the different modules that they want to do. There's also next and previous buttons within the modules. So once they start one, they can just next all the way through. Or if they have to leave and come back, they can come back, click on it, it takes them right to where they want to go. So this weekly breakdown with links follows all the way through the final completion of the course. Introduction to Canvas. So the first thing we need to know is to make sure that they have some sort of level of understanding of Canvas, the learning management system, so they don't run into any trouble navigating that. Again, I want them to get straight into the content of the course and learn the most they can from that, instead of being frustrated with how it's set up, how it's laid out, where do I go, what do I do, how do I make this program work. So we just start off with an introduction to Canvas mini course. It is optional. If students are already familiar with Canvas, then they can just skip right past it. It's not a requirement for any of the other lessons. Introduction, safety concerns. This is basic background information, things that the student needs to know in order to set up a workable space in their own home. Again, that's the majority of the audience for this course, is learning how to do this in your own space, in your own home, as a distance education student. Where this course really gets interesting or unique is the live video demonstrations. So for demonstration purposes, we'll click on the link to the coil method information page and demonstration videos. And we come to the coil building demo. So the first demo, information page demonstration will be a live video where you should be set up to practice along with the video, so you can ask questions and receive support directly from the instructor while this meeting is going on. This is key. There are lots of videos, YouTubers, instructional things that you can have access to just if you have internet access, that will show you how to do this, how to do that. What this course provides is an interactive community where you can be set up in your own workspace with your computer, practicing the things that you're being demonstrated. You can ask the teacher to show you this again. If you're having trouble with something specific, you can ask the instructor. You might have to wash your hands to type. But again, this creates an opportunity for the home student or the distance education student to really have that inner studio experience to learn these techniques that seem simple, but there's a lot more complicated aspects to them that you don't realize until you get your hands in the clay and you start trying to do these things and figure them out. So having this access to an expert of the subject in real time is really where this course gets interesting and provides a service that people who are interested in learning how to do these things can greatly benefit from. In addition to that, all the videos should be recorded and posted by the instructor afterwards, so the learner can go back and refer to them repeatedly. Also, I have found and included some YouTube links to publicly available instructional videos that these people can, or that the students can find on their own, doing their own research. So I've just found a few that are applicable to the techniques. If you want to see another demonstration, here's some other people doing it. Here's some other ways of doing it maybe, which will also, depending on how explorative the student is, maybe give them a little bit of a nudge to go and do some research of their own. So after the demo comes the assignment. The assignments have specific instructions, so there's no question as far as what am I expected to do. Please challenge yourself as much as possible. These little notes from the instructor or from the course designer, I found tend to make the course a much more engaging experience because the instructor or course designer has taken the time to say, hey, don't just do this. You're taking this course in order to grow. It's designed for you to grow, so let's challenge yourself. If you're bored and you've already done a coil built piece back in kindergarten and again in 3rd grade and again in 7th grade, well then maybe now it's time to take what you've learned and this technique that you're familiar with and bump it up to the next level. Challenge yourself, make it fun, make it interesting. And if it's your first time, then great, start slow, take your time. Kind of trying to cover bases and give people a sense of safety and security, so they're not afraid to risk, which we'll go back to our weekly thing and see the introduction to critique module here from week 2. Because not only do we want them to critique, but they need to know how. Clarifying and explaining what critique is, constructive criticism, how to take it, some tips and pointers on, don't take it personally, don't become offended or feel the need to defend yourself. And then specific expectations of what you should include when giving a critique. Again, this is one of the major elements of the course that make it extremely valuable, is the critique. So we've needed to formulate a way to structure that critique so it could be as effective as possible, and it can help the instructor to create an environment where that critique can really be effective. After learning what critique is as far as the context of this course and how to critique, we then have a practice critique. So find a contemporary working artist or any working artist in ceramics and do a written critique about their work. So we start practicing how to look at work from a critique standpoint. And then the coil building introduction, here's what it is. And then we get into the making coils video. So this demonstration will be a synchronous meeting. This one doesn't have additional videos because it's just rolling coils out. It's quite simple. But again, synchronous meeting, you never know what people may struggle with. The module layout is fairly sequential. So again, we have the introductions, the safeties, the studio setups, the critique lesson, and then it just works its way through. So we have an introduction, we have a demonstration, we have a practice project with feedback, and sometimes a second practice project with feedback, and then a final project where the student's expected to take what they've learned from the practice projects and apply it in a new way, thus creating a deeper learning experience for the student. And again, each unit builds on each other because they're gaining familiarity with how to handle the clay, how to process the clay, what to do with it, some different, what's it going to do if I do this, what's it going to do if I do that. And each lesson provides an additional opportunity for the student to create textures, to add things, this and that. And those things are all listed in the assignment descriptions for the students to practice. Extra credit opportunity, give them a chance to create their own video demonstration, final projects, soft slabs. There's an alternative assignment here for the instructor if because it's an experimental project, so we wanted to structure a slab box project in case the students just can't come up with anything. Here's a sample project. And then all the techniques culminate in a final project where the student takes something from brainstorm through design, mock-up, and production of the final project, which is another important step of kind of modeling a working artist lifestyle. And then a final synchronous meeting, which is modeled after a college-level art course where everyone brings their work to the final critique. They put their work out for everyone to see and receive feedback from the instructor and peers in a whole group setting. That is it for the course. Some flexibility with the instructor on how to set up the synchronous meetings. In the job aid, it spells out that the instructor uses whatever platform that they're most familiar with. And that's it. So I hope you've enjoyed the course. And if anyone's interested in learning how to work with clay, let me know and I'll make the course available to you. Thank you.